Yeah, do you want to make SFM animations, but don't know how? Well, good news. I'm here to tell you the extreme basics, or at least the semi-basics of SFM, along with some precautions that you should take while making your SFM posters or animations. So I'm going to assume you already have SFM installed on your computer or laptop or whatever. But first, if you're not going to do exclusive TF2 stuff, you're going to want to head over to the workshop. Me personally, I like to get my models from the workshop because it's easier and it makes more sense than some other websites. Or, just to admit it, I don't know how to import like Blender files into SFM. But for this example, we're just going to look up Ultrakill, and there's going to be a lot of things here available to you just already. Now, not everything's going to be here. Like, for instance, there's only one map, and that's P1, which is only a model and not a map. But it has everything here. It has all the enemies, and of course you have V1 and V2. There's also rigs for said V1 and V2. There's rigs for V1, and what you're going to want to do is hit this little, there's going to be a green button, so like over here with this divine healer sort of things, it's going to have this little plus green icon, and if you click that automatically downloads it to your SFM folder so that you won't have to do anything or import anything from any other game. So once you've done that, you're going to want to head over to SFM and actually launch the application. So once you first load in, there's going to be this little pop-up screen before you can do anything that asks you to make a session. And you can just name this whatever you want. I usually name mine something Ultrakill related because I make Ultrakill related things. So I'm just going to name mine SFM tutorial. And it might take a bit to load in the session depending on your hardware, but immediately you will see a no map loaded text request saying like, oh yeah, there's no map, so you can't do anything. Eventually the shots will load in and everything here. These sounds and overlay won't be important right now if you're just getting into starting, which is totally fine. So I'm going to go ahead and go to a green screen map that I have, which is a advanced green screen that has different colors and has actual HDR lighting, which is a whole other thing that I had to learn about in order to try and import a map from Gmod into SFM, which hasn't worked yet, but I hope it will. So once you have your map loaded in, and it will take a while, you're going to notice that there are going to be multiple cameras depending on where you're looking. So there's two cameras that you want to have at all times. So there's going to be your work camera, which is going to be just how you look around in the scene, and then there's going to be your actual camera. As you can see from the work camera, this sort of shows off the perspective of which the render or animation will take place. This is what is going to be your focus on the scene. Now, if you get this, and I had to figure this out, if you get this map, you have to draw game entities and go to other entities, which allows the green screen to be seen and allows these buttons to be shown, and you can't actually press these buttons. So you hit F11 and you go into a sort of game state. It's a bit weird to describe it. It's just like you're playing TF2 in the beta, TF2 in SFM, which if I can show it, I don't think it will. Okay, there we go. So this is what this screen will look like. Now you do have to move a bit. Now you will be automatically default as the scout. This is used for like gameplay recording so that you don't have to animate the entire thing. But let's say for instance I want it to be pink. I just hit it with my melee, shoot it with my primary or secondary, and then I hit F11 to get out of there, and then we can move on to the actual posing of models. So once you've found the place that you want to have your model and you have your camera set up all the way that you want it to be, you're going to press this plus tab and create new animation set for model, and you're going to just not look through here. I mean, if you have to, look through there, but you're just going to want to search up the name of the model. But for this example, I'm just going to be using V1 as a current stand-in. Now, you might notice immediately, if you try and get a close-up shot, that there's going to be these weird pixels. And that's okay, if you want those. But me personally, I like to go to, and this is a thing I do before all of my projects, even before importing any of my models, I'll turn off this because I don't like how it looks in the final product, and then I'll do outline only, which will give this like sort of like comic book sort of feel. But if you don't want any of that and you just want it to look all nice, then you can just have no outline whatsoever, and it'll look smooth and it'll look nice, which is something to say about SFM. So how to actually pose the model. You're gonna be like, oh, the buttons, they don't do anything. Well, that's because you're in the clip editor, which is how you cut shots from different camera angles, how you edit sound and add overlays. But for now, if you just want to do posing and not animation, you're going to want to go to motion editor. Now, do not confuse this with the animation tab or graph editor. These two are very different. This one's mainly used for starter poses so that you don't have to move everything on frame one. I mean, you can, but if you try to move his whole body in the clip editor, it'll do fine, you know, it'll do all that sort of thing. But if you do it in the graph editor, it'll do all this weird jangled mess that can cause a lot of problems later down in animation. So you have your model, it's here. Now if you want to do like really fine details and you're decently good with anatomy and don't want to cut corners and you want to make everything yourself and you want to do it manually, then don't add a rig to the model, because one, animating with rigs can be annoying, but it is a lifesaver. It is very easy to animate with a rig. All of my previous animations, except for the one on the FNF mod, go check that out by the way, soon. Some of those were done without using a rig, which was super annoying, which meant you had to, the only way that you could like move something and not have it look weird, because you can't do this because it'll like move out of the way, you know, all that stuff. The only way that you can make it look nice was with rotating, which can sort of give it like a robotic feel. Here, I'll do this, so sort of give it a nice. Okay, so now with your model, and if you already have the rig downloaded for V1, there's going to be, well, first you're going to want to right click over V1, go to rig, and then rig biped ultrakill V1. Now that's going to, instead of having 5 sections, it's going to have 3 sections, which just means that everything is now concise and has nice fluid movements. So originally, if I would move the hand, the hand would get detached from the body. But now the hand moves with the arm in a very smooth way. Now this doesn't rotate the hand because you're moving the hand and not rotating it also. But this will make it way easier to rotate. And if you're feeling like putting yourself through torture, then go ahead and not use a rig. But me personally, I prefer rigs more than any other thing. If there's a rig available, I will use it, simply for the fact that it makes things a lot easier to use. Now, with your model and your rig, you can set up your camera however you want. But yeah, this is my first tutorial video, sort of, that is totally unscripted. So, I don't know how it turned out. Hopefully it turned out well. But if you need any help, tell me in the comments. I'll be glad to either tell you from my knowledge or refer you to a video that I can find, like HDR lighting, importing Gmod maps, importing other models. I'll try and find those videos for you so that you can come back to this video if you ever need anything, and just in general if you need help with anything. So once again, leave any questions in the comments, and I'll see you guys later in the final devlog for the FNF mod.